And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Welcome to another edition of the Guerilla Roundup from the third day of the first test between New Zealand and England in Christchurch. And once again, we are very happy to be joined by Hector, who's our man at the ground, who's managed to recharge his microphone. Hopefully the sound will be a little better today. How are you going, Hector? How did you enjoy today?
Evening, Messi. Very good, thanks. Again, freezing. I put another layer on for today, but pretty cold evening. Really enjoyed today. Pretty cool to watch Stokes and Brooke go about it early on and the tail. And yeah, England in a great position heading into tomorrow.
So just to summarise, England in response to New Zealand's 348 were finally all out for 499. And at stumps in reply, New Zealand are 155 for 6, which is a lead of just 4 runs. So start us off from the day. How are things going this morning?
Well, this morning, it was sort of anyone's game coming in. Stokes and Brooke. Obviously, I think we're only 29 runs short of the lead. Stokes and Brooke yesterday evening looked fantastic. Stokes said this morning that he took a while to get used to the pace of the pitch, but the ball was soft. They were 6 overs until the new ball, so we knew that they were going to come out swinging early doors. And yeah, they took that lead apart pretty quickly. Harry Brooke dropped another couple of times this morning. I was 8 drop catches in total for the whole team, which is pretty damning stats for New Zealand. But yeah, they came out well. Brooke obviously fell, eventually for 172. He added another 39 runs on. And Stokes looked good. In the morning session, England added another 141 runs on, and Stokes only contributed 41 of those. So he did seem a little bit more tentative. He just allowed the likes of Atkinson and Cast to go out and hit out. But yeah, all in all, it was a great morning session.
It's part of the genius of Stokes as captain, isn't it? His capacity to hold the space while other people are able to do their thing, and to be a sort of rock for them while they're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he fell just short of his 100. He ended up scoring, I think it was 80 in the end. Yeah, ended up scoring 80 from 146 balls. No sixes, which I thought was unusual, especially at the Hagley Oval. The sort of square boundaries aren't as big as you would normally expect. So Stokes fell for 80, 20 short of 100. He would have been the first English captain to score 100 on his home ground. So Stokes, born in Christchurch, could have got the magic 100, would have been the first captain to do so since Michael Atherton in 1994 at Old Trafford against New Zealand as well, actually. So yeah, which I thought was a pretty cool stat.
Did Michael Atherton himself know that he was the last one to do it?
Yeah, well, everyone was sort of scrambling around in the press box or trying to find the stat because it could have been since the 1800s, you knew. And then Michael Atherton just sort of piped up from the back and said, "No, it was actually me a fair few decades ago." And then everyone had a good laugh about it. Yeah, which is pretty cool. But yeah, unfortunately, not to be for Stokes today.
So while we're going, I know there may be some sort of what goes on in the press box stays in the press box, but can you share with us the atmosphere for a young man like yourself coming into a press box full of experienced journos and ex-cricketers and so on? What's it like being in there?
Yeah, well, still got a bit of imposter syndrome, to be honest. It's very surreal. Stephen Shenwood today, he was doing the live reports for the BBC, so that was pretty awesome. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, everyone there loves cricket, so when the catches were going down, everyone was laughing, and it was a really good energy this morning. And obviously when reviews are in place, everyone's sort of hedging bets as to who it will be. But yeah, I'm learning a lot as well. Everyone's really nice and pretty generous with their time, so yeah, really enjoying it, but still don't feel quite settled yet.
Oh, well, I think it's a wonderful experience. I'm very jealous of you. So back to the cricket. I I think it's fair to say Root's shot that got himself out wasn't the smartest of all. He was trying to hike it as far as Dunedin, and it only got 3/4 of the way to the boundary, but that happens. So what happened towards the end of the innings then?
Towards the end of the innings, so Chris Wokes getting nicked off to Latham. He finally got a catch in the slip cord, and that was Tim Southey. He got him only just the second ball. Pretty soon after, Matt Henry dismissed Harry Brook. That was just after the Drake's break, I believe. So at that point, I was about to write an article about how this could be the end of Wokes' overseas career, but obviously we'll get to that later. Gus Atkinson, again, 48 off 36. I mean, he is a proper batsman. I was speaking to Harry Brook in the press conference after, and we were just talking about the depth that England have, and said to have Bryden Carson at 10 and Gus Atkinson in at 9 is something pretty special, and it's also really handy to annoy the Kiwi bowlers, is what Brook was saying. Is that it's a massive momentum aspect of having a long tail. So yeah, Atkinson smashed a couple sixes, got 48 off 36. Then Bryden Carson ended up on 33 off 24 as well. He looked pretty deadly, 3 sixes for him, and yeah, to have him in at number 10 is pretty handy.
Well, you did say to us when we were on air that Harmison thought that Bryden Carson is England's best number 10 ever. I think maybe that's when he's been at the ground, because there's been quite a few decent ones, including one, William Reid back in 1889, I think it was, made a century at number 10.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a long way to go, Cos, but I mean, fresh to the team. He's one that's going to be one to watch, dare I say, at the Ashes. I know we don't want to talk about that, but yeah, he's really handy in all aspects.
Any comments about the New Zealand bowling in general before we go on to the England New Zealand innings?
The New Zealand bowling, yeah, that was one of the questions I asked Matt Henry in the press conference after I asked what he could have done differently, what the team could have done differently. And he said that they were pretty happy with the bowling performance they actually had done. They missed a lot of chances out there this morning. Their fielding was a little bit sluggish. So in terms of the bowling performance themselves, they weren't too unhappy. Again, it was just a ground fielding. Aerial catches was, yeah, pretty unfortunate for them today.
From where we were sitting, both Hendo and I were pretty unimpressed by the sort of short pitch bowling and some also fairly crazy batting towards the end of the innings. It seems to be par for the course these days, but you wonder sometimes whether they're not just giving away runs with some of those short balls that are not perfectly placed.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you have Atkinson and Carse and the bat speed that they can gain, especially to the short ball. They just unleash their hands on it. As I mentioned, shorter boundaries probably wasn't the wisest, but I don't know. I guess each team have their plans and they aren't going to vary for a tail ender. So, yeah, but again, New Zealand very disappointed by allowing, I think it was another 150 odd runs, 180 odd runs maybe allowed to be piled on this morning.
Indeed. So New Zealand started off 151 runs behind England in their second innings. How did they go?
Well, Tom Latham, the captain, he batted really well in the first innings, I thought. He probably seemed, including Kane Williamson in the first innings, Latham was the most in tune with the pitch. He went first in the second over. He went for one, nicked off to Chris Wokes. Nice delivery. Harry Brook caught that at slip. Again, massive for momentum, as he was saying today. That's as valuable as some of the runs he scored at the back end of today's innings. Devon Conway, I found it interesting. I noticed it a couple overs in. They had a clear plan bowling to him, Wokes and Atkinson. They had two sort of short covers in, trying to pull the drive, and then three slips. Whereas with Latham, they were just more conventional, but they were clearly trying to entice Conway into a drive, and then took a great catch off the bowling of Carse in its short cover. So Conway went for 8. Williamson and Ravinder then really looked to steady the ship. I think they had a partnership of 45-ish. But Ravinder, in a weirdly battable way, just gave his wicket away. He was batting really nicely on 24. And Carse, again, with the extra bounce he gets, they were just doing the short ball plan, 5 men behind the bat, and Revenger fell for it pretty easily and hold out to Jacob Bethel, who took a really nice catch through the sun.
Yeah, it seemed madness on Revenger's part to be playing that ball just straight after lunch. I think it was just after a break that he did a similar thing in the first innings. I mean, for a batsman who's so obviously really talented, it's like he just loses his mind for an instant, and all of a sudden it's all over.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it looked as if he was sort of trying to take on basketball, try and be one rung above. Almost a little bit of arrogance, but of course he's a great player, and he's probably in a similar bracket to Harry Brook, and that he's going to go on to be one of the top players in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we had a partnership between Williamson and Mitchell that looked like it might be starting to dig them out of the hole a bit until Wokes came back.
Yeah,
what
once
happened
again.
then?
Yeah. So again, another 60-odd partnership between Williamson and Mitchell. Mitchell's still there at the end of the day. He's grinded out 31 off 99 balls, but Chris Wokes, who, as I say, first innings looked really underwhelming, didn't offer anything with a bat. He just got on a roll. He changed ends. He was bowling, I'm not sure what the end is, the non-pavilion end. Changed ends, and in the first innings there was a lot of wind, so he wasn't able to. I think he had to change his run up, I was told. But he looked really fluid. He really got in a good rhythm today. Ended up trapping Kane Williamson on the pad. Again, really unlucky umpire's cool decision, which was reviewed by Williamson, but he was called LBW for 61. And then the very ball after that, Wokes, a bit of wind. Wokes to Blundell. Blundell, he's been really underwhelming and slightly out of form. A lot of doubts over his selection.
Yeah.
Nicked off first ball. Ollie Pope took a nice catch. And the crowd at that point were really energetic. I mean, this evening it's probably the rowdiest they've been all Test match.
And the drunkest.
And the drunkest, yeah, because it was fancy dress day today, so it seemed like they were going above and beyond.
Oh dear God!
That was good to hear. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I can imagine the atmosphere. So that,
I mean,
it was
pretty
for
nice.
us, it felt like the loss of Williamson and Blundell in 2 balls to take them to 5 wickets down was really the beginning of the end for New Zealand. Was the mood in the ground like that too?
Yeah, I think so. Again, Matt Henry earlier, and I asked him what sort of lead New Zealand want, and he was really confident. He said, with the bowling attack we have, we don't need as many runs as people would expect, and we're quite happy defending anything. So the mood in the New Zealand camp is still one very much of optimism. They're expecting to bat for a long time tomorrow morning. But yeah, as you say, when Blundell went, most of the people in the press box sort of resigned to a good English victory, which should be pretty comprehensive, but I guess we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, self-delusion seems to be strong when it comes to press conferences from unwinnable situations, but we shall see. We shall see. And Cast got Glenn Phillips towards the end of play, and New Zealand completely shut up shop then. So it just feels like if they think they're going to make runs, Daryl Mitchell and Nathan Smith together, doesn't feel like there's a lot of runs left out there, put it like that. Sorry, you're cutting out a bit.
Yeah, well, Daryl Mitchell going into this Test match, I think he averages 71 against England, so he definitely likes batting. Is that all right?
Yeah, it is. It's not the microphone; it's the Wi-Fi. You're every now and then it cuts out a bit, but we can live through that. But Nathan Smith's this is his debut Test match. Do we have any info on his batting form?
Yeah, he's meant to be a really good batsman. He's expected to sort of move up to 6 in the next few years as players start to retire. So he's definitely capable. As I say, Mitchell's got a great record against England. So those two will have to do the brunt of the scoring. Matt Henry can bat a little bit, and then Southey and O'Rourke, both big guys, have long levers, but not much batting in the tail in comparison to England.
Right. Well, we shall see what happens tomorrow. So tell us what exciting things you learned in the press conferences this evening.
So we had Matt Henry first. I told both the questions I asked him. He seemed to be pretty upbeat. I mean, he did take 4 that day. Spoke about those drop catches and how demoralising it is out in the field. And sort of told everyone that New Zealand should be in a far better position than they are, which was true, but didn't really add anything. And then Harry Brook came in a great mood, still in his white, very smiley, very laughy. Got asked a lot of questions about his fortune and just kept on laughing it off. Said that the first drop catch he had, if you remember Glenn Phillips at Gully, he said that not many people in the world could catch that because he hit that out the middle. So he said he wasn't really sure why people were making a big fuss over it. And that Ollie Pope, he apologised profusely to Ollie Pope that night and was happy to cash in with his runs. I asked how he can study Kane Williamson, and if he does that often. He said not as much this test match, but of course as he was coming into the ranks at Yorkshire, he had Williamson, Root, Bairstow, Gary Ballant, so he was really focused on getting some information out of him as well as staying in that side. He just spoke about
not a bad mentorship group, is it?
No, it's a pretty good team as well. And he just spoke about how in awe he is of Williamson's defence, and he says it is near on impossible to nick Williamson off, which makes everything difficult. And his leave and patience are something that he wants to try and bring into his game. But that was about it from Brook. But he was in very good mood.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's got plenty to be in a good mood about.
So
are there any other snippets from today's experience that you want to share with us?
Well, not a lot. I spilled my coffee on my laptop, slept through my alarm, so just got there in time for the first ball. So feeling slightly out of it today. Pretty cold, but no, it's just been a great day watching cricket, chatting to everyone, and just sort of learning the ropes a little bit more.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much for this, Hector. Whether we do a report or not tomorrow really depends on how long we go. If it's over really quickly, we probably won't bother with it.
Exactly.
But we'll certainly be seeing you at the second test, which is where, in Wellington?
Yeah, Basin Reserve in Wellington.
Oh, lovely ground too.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So thank you for that. Have a nice rest. I hope it's going to be slightly warmer tomorrow, so I'm a bit worried about seeing how much you're freezing.
I might have to bring another layer to see if that. I think it's just I'm too skinny, to be honest.
Oh dear. Well, you're English. You should be used to this sort of thing.
Yeah, true. I didn't pack for it though. That was my issue.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Messi.
And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup.